Picture this: a mother has just learned an impossible truth. The boy she's been protecting, a small child pulled from a sinkhole into a lost prehistoric world, is not just some orphan. He is her own husband, decades before she ever met him. That's the gut punch at the center of this episode. Today we're breaking down Brea, Season 1, Episode 9. Titled Father and Son, this is the show most widely recognized under this title, the NBC time travel, survival drama that follows a family scattered across different eras after a massive sinkhole opens in Los Angeles. No spoilers here in the intro. Just know that this episode forces two timelines and one broken family to collide with the countdown to a mountaintop portal ticking louder than ever. La Brea, an American science fiction drama created by David Applebaum. It premiered in 2021 on NBC and streams on Peacock. The show blends survival drama with mystery and speculative science fiction, centering on the Harris family after a giant sinkhole swallows part of Los Angeles, sending some family members 10,000 years into the past while others remain in the present. The series stars Natalie Zia as Eve Harris, Owen Mackin as Gavin Harris, Jack Martin as Josh Harris, Zyra Goretsky as Izzy Harris, Chico Conquo as Levi Delgado, and Veronica St. Clair as Riley. Its IMDb rating sits in the mid-6 range, reflecting a fanbase that enjoys the ambitious premise even as critics have been mixed on its execution. Particularly in this stretch of the season, Father and Son picks up immediately after a jaw-dropping revelation. The mysterious child known as Isaiah, who has been living among the ancient sinkhole survivors, is actually a young version of Gavin Harris, Eve's husband. If that sounds confusing, that's exactly the reaction the characters have to. This episode is about racing against the clock. Eve now understands that Isaiah must be delivered to a portal opening on a mountaintop before a specific moment, because if he isn't sent through to the year 1988, the timeline unravels, and her own children, Josh and Izzy, could die as a consequence. Meanwhile, in the present day, Gavin and Ella are dealing with fallout of their own, as buried memories start clawing their way to the surface. Two timelines, one ticking clock, and a family that doesn't yet know how deeply connected they all are. The episode opens with Eve still reeling from what Aldridge told her. Isaiah is Gavin as a boy. She brings this to Josh, and predictably, he shuts the idea down immediately. Josh has never had patience for the supernatural theories that have swirled around his father, and hearing that a random child could somehow be young Gavin sounds absurd to him. But Eve can't shake it. Something about the boy's eyes, his expressions, feels unmistakably familiar. The two clash over whether to trust the theory, with Josh dismissing it as insane while Eve finds herself increasingly convinced. TV fanatic the group gets more context on how Isaiah ended up among them in the first place. Parr explains that Isaiah and his guardian Silas joined their village a few years earlier, having emerged from a sinkhole, and that the boy's parents did not survive the fall. This detail becomes crucial. It lines up eerily well with the idea that Isaiah is a displaced child from another time, exactly the kind of anomaly this world keeps producing. The stakes crystallize. There's a portal opening soon at the top of a mountain in Topanga, and it leads to the year 1988. If Isaiah is guided through it in time, the timeline that allows Josh and Izzy to exist starts to collapse, and the two siblings could fall gravely ill and die. This isn't a hypothetical threat anymore. It's an active deadline, and it forces the group into motion immediately. Eve and Levi take a difficult route on foot, while Josh drives the Jeep to reach the other side of the terrain. Along the way, the dangers of this prehistoric landscape come roaring back into focus, quite literally, as Josh has to use the Jeep to fend off a saber-toothed predator that threatens the group. The physical danger of this world is never far from the emotional drama. Every step toward the portal is also a step through hostile, ancient wilderness, adding urgency to the chase. Silas, the man who has been Isaiah's guardian and caretaker in this world, flees with the boy after a violent confrontation involving Rebecca, who is stabbed during the struggle. This means the group isn't just racing a clock anymore. They're also trying to track down and recover a child who has effectively been taken from them, all while an injured member of their party needs help. While the ancient timeline storyline barrels forward, the present-day storyline slows down to examine a quieter, more personal unraveling. Ella has been struggling with fragmented memories and a growing suspicion that she isn't who she thinks she is. Gavin, who has his own history with the sinkhole and its strange effects on memory, tries to help her make sense of what's happening. Ella initially resists believing anything Gavin tells her about a shared past, but she begins experiencing her own memory flashes, and he presents her with a stone that matches one she had unknowingly drawn. This becomes the episode's second major twist. Ella isn't a stranger to this mystery. She's tied into it in a way nobody expected, revealed to be connected to the identity of Lily, a name tied to the sinkhole's tangled history. Beyond the time travel mechanics, this episode also deals in old-fashioned domestic drama. Long-simmering tension between Eve and Levi comes to a head as their relationship, something more than simple survival partnership, becomes impossible to hide any longer. Josh, already skeptical and frustrated, is confronted with the reality of his mother's feelings for Levi, adding a painful, personal wound on top of the sci-fi stakes. It's a reminder that this show operates on two levels simultaneously: the epic mystery of the sinkhole and the very human relationships being tested by it. As the episode closes, all the pieces are in motion, but not yet resolved. The group hasn't yet located Isaiah and Silas. The portal's opening is imminent. Josh and Izzy's survival depends on getting a young boy, who may or may not fully understand what's happening to him, to a specific location at a specific time. The episode ends not with resolution, but with urgency, setting the stage directly for the season finale. Eve Harris, the emotional core of the present timeline story, trapped in 10,000 BC, a determined mother trying to hold her family together across two impossible timelines. In this episode, she's the one who fully absorbs and acts on the revelation about Isaiah, showing her willingness to believe in the impossible if it means protecting her children. Josh Harris, Eve's son, grounded and skeptical, often the voice of doubt against his father's and now his mother's more fantastical theories. His arc here is about resistance turning into reluctant acceptance, layered with personal hurt over his mother's relationship with Levi Delgado, a fellow survivor and Eve's close ally in the ancient world, whose romantic connection to Eve becomes an open wound for Josh in this episode. He's practical, protective, and central to the physical journey toward the portal. Isaiah, the young boy at the heart of the season's biggest twist, revealed to be a childhood version of Gavin Harris, displaced through a sinkhole and separated from his real timeline. He doesn't fully grasp the magnitude of what everyone believes about him, which makes the stakes even more unsettling. Silas, Isia's guardian in the ancient world, fiercely protective to the point of violence, whose decision to flee with the boy escalates the episode's central conflict. Gavin Harris, Eve's husband in the present day, whose own mysterious, memory-less childhood becomes directly relevant once Isia's identity is revealed. In the present-day storyline, he's the one helping Ella confront her buried past. Ella, a present-day character whose fragmented memories and unexplained connections to the sinkhole mystery come into full focus this episode, revealed to be linked to a past identity tied to earlier events in the show's mythology. Rebecca, the character whose theory about Isia's true identity sets this episode in motion, and who becomes a casualty of the Silas confrontation. Para, a member of the ancient sinkhole community who provides key background information about how Isaiah and Silas arrived, helping the group and the audience connect the dots. The biggest twist of this stretch of the season, the confirmation that Isaiah is a young Gavin, meaning the show has fully committed to a time loop structure where characters can encounter younger versions of people they already know. The second major twist involves Ella's true identity, tied to the name Lily, revealed through her shared memory flashes with Gavin and the matching stone he brings her, evidence that her past is deeply entangled with the show's central mystery. Not separate from it, the episode ends on a cliffhanger of momentum rather than resolution. The group has not yet reunited with Isaiah after Silas fled with him. The portal deadline is closing in, and the emotional fallout from Eve and Levi's exposed relationship still hangs over Josh. Meanwhile, in the present, Ella is left grappling with a new understanding of who she might really be. The ending functions as a direct runway into the season finale. Everything unresolved here: the location of Isaiah, the state of the family's fractured trust, Ella's true identity, becomes the engine for the final episode's events. This episode is a direct continuation of the revelation delivered at the end of the previous episode, where Aldridge first tells Eve that Isaiah is young Gavin. It also sets up the season finale, titled Topanga, which picks up immediately where this episode leaves off, following the group's attempt to get Isaiah through the sinkhole and into 1988, while a corresponding portal opens in the present-day Seattle. Confirmed only. The parallel structure of father and son in the title works on two levels: Gavin's literal fatherhood of Josh and Izzy, and the strange loop of Gavin essentially being his own family's history. Beyond that, deeper symbolic interpretations of the mountain portal imagery, or the recurring stone motif tied to Ella, been to fan interpretation rather than confirmed by any official source. So, we won't present those as fact. The episode aired in November 2021 as the penultimate installment of the show's first season. Critical reception at the time was notably mixed, with some critics feeling the young Gavin twist felt like a rushed solution to a plot problem the show had written itself into, rather than a natural narrative progression. Father and Son is very much a bridge episode, packed with big emotional swings and one truly bizarre sci-fi reveal, but clearly building toward a finale rather than delivering its own complete arc. It's the kind of episode where the destination matters more than the journey, setting every piece in place for a high-stakes conclusion. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let us know your thoughts, theories, or favorite moments from this episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to Screen Central for more web series and TV series breakdowns, ending explained videos, and detailed episode analyses. Turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload.